We got shirts on sale. Express your evolution and starter Pokemon love by buying an Evolution Family shirt and Which One starter shirt. Link will be in the description below. The rivals in the Pokemon series. Trainers that you get to know along the way of your Pokemon journey. The trainers that are with you neck and neck throughout the entirety of your story. They push you to do better, are relatively great character builders, and some are friendlier than others. The effects rivals can have in a Pokemon game can change how a player goes through their experiences and can make you feel for them as well. I was looking recently at a list of rivals, and the majority of them are fantastic. It got me thinking too. I wanted to give all my opinions on them within the Pokemon games. Today, I'll be giving my opinions on every single rival ever presented to us in the Pokemon games. With that being said, all rivals will be getting an opinion, and they will vary from short to long, and some will be liked way more than above others. Regardless of my opinion though, I hope you guys do enjoy hearing my thoughts on these astounding trainers that make the biggest differences for a Pokemon game. Starting off, we have the OG rival Blue. Blue is the original rival in the Pokemon game series, and to me, he's definitely one of the realest rivals we can get. He has that snarky attitude and legit hates losing to you. He feels because his grandfather is Professor Oak, he should be the best automatically. He is always ahead of you in the games and continues to belittle you even after you beat him in battle. He is a true rival. When you beat him in the Pokemon League and take his championship status away, it is one of the most satisfying things to do. Also, his music themes are easily one of the best. This is my favorite rival out of all the rivals you ever faced off against in Pokemon. He starts by robbing Professor Elm's lab for the opposite starter you pick, and hates you throughout your entire playthrough of the Johto games. The reason he hates you is just so deep, and then you find out that he's actually Giovanni's son. The amount of character development we see through Silver towards the end of the games is really amazing. After meeting Lance, his entire outlook of how Pokemon should be raised has changed, and by battling and losing to you several times as well, he starts to realize that he needs to start treating his Pokemon differently. I respect Silver a lot because he realizes he messes up a lot in this sense. He's had a hard childhood, but he's got a great change to him. I'm also pretty jealous of how he gets Sneasel on his team. Brendan and May in the original Hoenn games are easily two of the worst rivals. They don't really do much of anything in these games, and they get cut off towards the end. If we're talking about the ones in ORAS though, then they are excellent rivals. We actually have rivals in ORAS. You get to see them develop as characters and as trainers wholeheartedly. We get small cinematic cutscenes with them, they help the player take on the evil teams, they even get mega evolutions, and we also get one last fantastic battle at the end of the games to sum things up. They are amazing rivals, and you get to see them help you through thick and thin. I wish we could have gotten these rivals in the original Hoenn games. They aren't even just rivals, they feel like close friends. Wally felt like the actual rival in the Hoenn games versus May and Brendan. You help him capture his first Pokemon and give him the inspiration to follow his own path. Wally also comes off in the beginning of the game really sick. You help him get back on his feet, but even though you feel bad for him, he has the backbone of a fantastic rival. He trains his butt off on his journey and meets you in the last stretch of Victory Road, towards the Elite Four. Facing off against his team at the end of the games makes you realize, holy cow, is this actually the same guy we found at the beginning of the game? He has came a long way since then. The entire demeanor change you pick up from Wally just shows he's impressive as ever and he's grown up a lot. The theme in ORAS shows this a lot as well, even though I think it's a little bit overrated. I respect it enough in the way it means a huge battle is about to go down though. The last battle between you and Wally shows he's not the same anymore and he is ready for the biggest battle of his Pokemon career. With you. He's gonna find you 1 million if you're late. Oh man, I love Barry as a rival. This dude here may be a klutzy doofus, but my love for him as a rival is pretty genuine. He pretty much fits the description of a great rival. He may not be blue or silver, but hey, he's not a bad choice. He's got the spirit of a great rival, and he even considers you as a great friend. So I would rank him as my top 3 in terms of rivals. Plus there's also the fact you've known Barry since you were kids, and that builds up a lot of rivalry right there in the same sense Blue does. I really enjoyed doing the tag battles with Barry too. It makes you feel more connected with him, and seeing his team makes you realize, oh shoot, Barry wants a battle when we're done working together. He's got your back, but also wants to let you know he's coming for you in that next Pokemon battle. Much respect to Barry. He's a cool dude. Sharon was certainly an interesting rival. He was a really smart know-it-all that wanted to be the strongest and become champion. This is seemingly his downfall in the games, as his over-analytical personality makes it hard for him to figure out why he constantly loses to the protagonist despite having strong Pokemon. His issue is his bond with his Pokemon. He wants to become strong, but he doesn't really know why. And while he certainly cares for his Pokemon, he doesn't have the connection he should. This is a big revelation for Sharon in the games, which then sets his course character development and how he will grow as a person. Now usually it just ends there, but we we were fortunate enough to get sequels and actually see what happened to Sharon. In the 2 years between Black and White and Black and White 2, he becomes the new normal type gym leader located in the new protagonist's hometown, as well as the teacher as the Aspertia Trainer School. He is still a very intelligent person with tons of advice and knowledge to give to the player, but seems more level-headed and confident in his convictions. It's so awesome to see how he turned out after his time as our rival, and it really makes me wish Game Freak would do things like that more often. Now, while Bianca might be a weaker rival than Sharon, I definitely think she still has a lot of good and admirable qualities to her. She's aware that she's not as strong of a trainer as Sharon or the player, but yet she still wants to pursue her dream of being one. This is even a decent plot point in the games, as we learn this is very much against her father's wishes, as he worries about his daughter. Fortunately, Elisa helps convince her father that it's okay for her to continue on her journey, so she can learn a lot more about herself and the people she's surrounded by. Throughout her journey, she is reminded that she isn't super strong like her two friends, but that's okay. She then discovers that what she truly wants is to research and learn more about Pokemon. And just like with Sharon, we get to see what happens 2 years later. For Bianca, she does in fact continue on her path to researching Pokemon by becoming Professor Juniper's assistant, and who gives you your starter at the beginning of Pokemon Black and White 2. She is seen several times throughout the sequels, running different errands for Professor Juniper. She might not be as integrated as Sharon is to the story, but it's still awesome to see her involved and continuing on the path that makes her happy. Honestly, he was probably the best rival since Blue, Silver, and Berry. He's not a jerk like either of them, but he's definitely hot-headed and always looking for a fight. But that's because it's in his quest to get stronger. As you'll hear from him about 10,000 times in the game, Team Plasma stole his little sister's Purloin, which is the influence behind him wanting to be as strong as possible so that he can take down Team Plasma and get his sister's Pokemon back. I gotta say, it's pretty admirable and honestly one of the best ways to do a rival if you don't want him to flat out be a jerk. He might not be trying to beat you at every turn he gets, but he certainly does try to keep up with you as much as possible in his quest for strength. He comes at you with everything he has, but is super chill about losing to you and is a constant reminder of reassurance and encouragement along the way. Serena is fantastic in the Pokemon anime. Calum and Serena in the games, however, are literally the most bland rivals I think any of us have ever seen. Hey neighbor, let's battle. I mean, they aren't bad rivals because I guess they fit the definition of a rival. They both have a competitive side, but to me it's just not enough. I want more aggressive rivals like Silver and have actual character development. Shauna is, in my opinion, the best rival in Pokemon X and Y. She actually has some character development, and I feel you have more important interactions with her than any of the other rivals in the games. You sit with her and watch fireworks, and she actually helps you in Parfum Palace to capture Furfrou. This activity you do with her is literally the highlight of the games when it comes to being with a rival. After this moment, we don't really see much of Shauna, and most of the other rivals kind of just doing their own thing. Shauna is the best rival out of all of them in Pokemon X and Y. Saying she is the best, though, doesn't match her up with some of the other rivals. Her being the best in X and Y literally doesn't touch what Blue or Silver did as rivals by far. I think I only remember him because he dances and has a core fish that nearly sweeps you with Swords Dance. I don't really have much to say about this dude. I just think he's a really trash rival. X and Y rivals are the worst. He's got a cool team though, I guess. Trevor is honestly one of the most forgettable rivals in the history of Pokemon. In fact, I'd say he's the most forgettable. There's just really nothing special about him. He's just super interested in completing the Pokedex, but that's it. I guess it makes sense why he's so forgettable since you only battle him twice. Likely because battling and being strong isn't his primary interest, but that doesn't make my statement any less true. He's just kind of there, and is super disappointing. I will say your second battle with him was pretty surprising because he actually has some variety on his team, having a Raichu, Aerodactyl, and a Florges. All the moves on them aren't half bad either, so I guess I have to give him some kind of credit. However, what would have made him much cooler is if he had a stronger roster of Pokemon and was actually tough to battle. Imagine him having a Raichu with Magnet as a held item, a Mega Aerodactyl on his team, and instead of a Florges, he had a Choice Spec Sylveon with Pixelate, waiting to destroy your team. That would have been awesome. But alas, that's all fantasy, and we're stuck with the boring Trevor we all kind of forgot. This is one of those rivals that felt very non-appealing to me. He was way too friendly to even be considered a rival. I like his happy-go-lucky character, but that does not fit what a rival should be. He seemed like more of a rival in Ultra Sun and Moon though, if anything, and he seemed definitely more competitive. I like the fact he was champion in the Ultra games as well. He was actually challenging. How isn't a bad character at all? I just felt like he could have had more rival-like traits. He does make you want to try Malasadas though. I'll tell ya. I used to dislike Gladion a lot. He was this edgelord kid that I just couldn't stand. But after playing the Ultra games and seeing him in the anime, my respect went up for him a lot. He truly is what I would consider a rival and had great character development for sure. Gladion gets better character development each time you battle him. Throughout the story, he even gets to respect you as a character and as a player. He's a great character and he's one of the reasons I love Ultra Sun and Moon so much. At the end of the list, we have Trace, who is honestly such a mixed bag, but ultimately in the end is a really disappointing rival. Again, take a look at Hugh if you want to see how a rival is tough and interesting, but also friendly towards you at the same time. That's really one of Trace's main problems. He's just too friendly and doesn't offer anything beneficial to the player or the story at the end of the day. I will admit that him taking in the orphaned Cubone was a really nice thing about his character, but that's pretty much it. Another positive thing I can say about him is that he has become quite a bit tougher at the end of the game compared to a lot of recent rivals. His Pidgeot is super annoying with its roost spamming, but honestly that made him actually a little enjoyable. This was slightly more interesting by Game Freak giving him a Mega Pidgeot in the champion battle, only to then be slightly ruined by taking a roost away from him. In fact, none of his Pokemon have a 4th move, which is just bizarre since most of his Pokemon had 4 moves to begin with. He had such great potential to be an amazing rival, but in the end, they didn't want to make him too big of a challenge, which to me defeats the purpose of your standard rival. You can have rivals that are nicer and friendlier like Bianca, so long as they're not supplemented by better and more challenging rivals like Gladion or Sharon. But that's just not the case here, and at the end of the day, Trace's main and biggest problem is that he was supposed to be a replacement for Blue in these games, and he's so far from even ever reaching that kind of status. I'm sorry, Trace, but you're just not that great, my guy. Well, that pretty much wraps up all my opinions on the rivals. The majority of the rivals are excellent individuals and they definitely push me to do better in playing Pokemon. The X and Y rivals though are just complete meh. Anyways, what are your favorite rivals? Let me know in the comments below, as well as what you guys would like to hear my opinion on next. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe to my channel with notifications on, that way you never miss an upload. If you want to support me further, consider following my Twitch where I stream a lot of Pokemon content and all kinds of other content like Zelda, Fire Emblem, Pokemon Mr. Dungeon, Borderlands, and so much more. Want to support me further and gain cool perks? Check out my Patreon. Fly Jubilee, Daniel Leone, Lady Crimson, Pal491, The Lazy Leo, Matthew Young, Austin Lego, and Jarrett Wiz Austin did. I want to thank them personally for going above and beyond. It means the world to me. I think I'm gonna wrap this up though. I'm Mystic Umbrown and I will see you in the future for more awesome Pokemon content.